Hello, my name is Roshan Narayan, and thank you for joining us on In20. If you're watching us on YouTube, do
that back forward and protect and pass the ball very, very simply. He is brilliant. If you put the leg.
Welcome back to the show. If you're watching us on YouTube, do turn on the notifications. And if you're watching us on the Rakyat Post, thank you very much, Danny. I've got to talk to you about VAR, the hand goal, and the debacle, that it has just brought them. I'm having headaches. But before we get to that, would you say that a bigger headache would be the bosses at Barcelona, what they're facing right now? Because they've let Luis Suarez go. Ronald Koeman has come out and said, hey, muchachos, it wasn't me, it was you. And Messi is absolutely losing it. So which one's worse? Handballs or Luis Suarez?
Well, I think handball has to be the biggest issue, I think, because that affects everybody. Luis Suarez just really affects Atletico Madrid and Barcelona. I have to say that is some front line there they've got, though, isn't it? Diego Costa, Luis Suarez, and then manager in Diego Simeone. I mean, no one's going to want to play against them. I think we've already seen already. I think it was that Diego Costa said, I'll do the fighting, and Luis Suarez can do the biting. And you think, well, he's got a fair point. But no, Barcelona's a bit of a mess. Messi's obviously there for at least another season. He's desperate to win the Champions League. That's what he wants to win more than anything else. But the handball situation now has just gone beyond a joke.
Before we get really deep into that, do you remember when Robin Van Persie joined Manchester United and everyone went, oh, they're favourites to win the title? They went on to win the title. So Suarez joining Atletico Madrid with that midfield and with that solid defence, could they be favourites this season?
I don't know if they'll be favourites because obviously Barcelona and Real Madrid will be up there. But we've seen what Luis Suarez can be, sensational, absolutely devastating. If you can keep Diego Costa fit as well, those two are going to cause all sorts of problems, not just in terms of goal scoring, but all sorts of problems for defences. No defence is going to want to play against those two. And with their manager, the tactics that we've seen him employ and the work rate that they have, they could go a long way in every single competition that they're in, because that is now, that's a forward line and a team that on its day could rip you apart in football terms and could also rip you apart literally if they wanted to.
But did Ronald Koeman rip Luis Suarez away from Messi, knowing that, there could be too much power there between the two? He's come out, of course, and said, it's not me. But there's something there. Where there's smoke, there's fire, Danny.
Yeah, there is. But I don't understand. Why would you want to get rid of such a fantastic player, such an influential player, on the pitch? I don't understand that in any way, shape or form. Maybe it wasn't Ronald Koeman that did it. And again, he doesn't really know Luis Suarez. He didn't really know the situation at Barcelona. So maybe it isn't down to him. Maybe he is right. Maybe it is, the powers that be that wanted to break up that partnership, obviously with them being very, very close and having a lot of power within the dressing room. But Messi has all the power on his own. Messi doesn't need Luis Suarez, as a partner. So again, maybe it's not Ronald Koeman. Maybe it is the hierarchy.
You know what's the funniest thing? I know I've been getting my predictions horribly wrong. I think Barcelona might finish 6th this season, or 5th or 4th. I don't think they'll be in the top 3.
No, you're talking absolute nonsense, Roshan.
Okay, I'm glad you brought up the word nonsense, because can you please explain this new rule with football? Because, fair enough, we're getting a lot more goals. But what is a handball now? Literally anything you if even the ball is here and your hand is here, it's a handball.
Right. So obviously we've been involved in all the situations and everything that's happened. So look, if I sort of stand up, so look, the old handball. Let me see if I can get the camera right. The old handball rule, handball was from there, and that part of your arm. Now it's changed, and that's now the line. If you can see that there. So almost the bottom of a short sleeve shirt, or where the badge is, where the Premier League badge would be. Anything below that, going that way, going down, is handball. If your arm is away from your body, if you're making yourself bigger. So if it hits any part of your hand below there, and your arm is sort of any distance away from your body, basically, as long as if it's not there, if it's there and it hits your arm, it's handball. End of. It doesn't matter whether you're looking at it, whether you've got your back to it. Now,
would you, if you imagine if you were playing in this day and age, what would you do with your hands? It's like you're Tutankhamun,
well,
you're just like.
Well, but you can also keep your hand out of the way. You don't, it doesn't.
Yeah, but
so the caveat to that is, if I'm on the goal line, and I mean, let me stand back a little bit. If I'm on the goal line and I go like, and my arm's there, and it hits me on the bicep, and it stops the ball going in the back of the net, have I stopped a goal with an illegal part of my body? Even if I didn't mean it, even if it was accidental, I've stopped a goal by using an illegal part. That's no different from a foul, surely. That's no different from me, only just giving somebody a little nudge or anything like that. So I sort of get it. Clearly it's gone. It has
sideways.
Yeah, because I think there has to be a point. I think we have to bring into that if you gain an advantage. I think that would be the best way to do it, because there has to be a point where you say, well, because you can never prove whether it's accidental. You can never prove whether it's deliberate. The only time you can do that.
Do you remember the penalty which Lindelof was given against Lindelof in the United game and Tottenham?
The only time I've seen deliberate handballs, Luis Suarez in the World Cup against Ghana, magnificent save, tipping it over the crossbar.
Yeah,
and it was Newcastle. Was it Stephen Taylor?
Yes, correct.
He was on the line, and it was the most unbelievable save on the planet. And then he tried to sort of like hide his arms and denied he'd done it. They're deliberate handballs. So, if you're talking about deliberate, they should be the only two penalties that we've ever seen for handball. But, of course, that's not the case. So I would say if it hits your hand, in that position below the badge, if you like, and you gain an advantage for your team from that, then yes, it should be handball. If there's no advantage, if it skims your arm and it goes out of play and it was already heading towards the corner flag, then play on. Simple as that. I think most players, most managers, most fans would be a little bit happier with that type of decision. But it's now being, it's the letter of the law, literally.
Yep.
And it's just ridiculous.
And the law comes from, I think one of your colleagues from TalkSport brought this up, Sam Matterface. I hope I'm getting his name right. I haven't butchered his name, but he brought up this really good point where it's David Elleray. If you remember this, man, I have nothing against him, but as a football fan, when I used to watch it back in the day,
can I just say, Roshan, headmaster.
Yeah, he's a headmaster, correct? He was a headmaster in a
headmaster, private school.
I didn't like him as a referee because he was always there just to prove that he's the man on the field. And I remember watching this old interview of his where he said, discipline is everything. I was like, oh God, this sounds like a schoolmaster. But he's come up with these rules, correct? Because he's the person in charge. And Sam, your colleague from TalkSport, brought about the fact that he's made about 200 changes in 4 years. I mean, how do you keep up with one, let alone the rest of the 199, Danny?
Yeah, but you have to imagine that a lot of those rules or laws have improved the game massively. Don't forget, let's just imagine, how different would the game be if we still had to have two people take kickoff? I mean, that's revolutionary. What an unbelievable rule change that was. I'm joking, clearly. What was the point in that? That's not changed football in any way, shape, or form, has it? There are lots of silly little things, but the big laws are poor, and the handball one. I think what you have to do is talk to football people and speak to players, speak to managers, and say, right, okay, what do you think is fair? And I would go back to, okay, you have to have a point on the arm where you say that's handball, that's not. It's like offside. It's either offside or it's not. And then you have to decide with handball, okay, did you gain an advantage? And of course that is going to be subjective, and that's never going to be 100% because that's the way that it is. But I think if you gain an advantage from a handball, most people would say, okay, fair enough. I can understand why that penalty's been given.
So can you get David on the line and just talk to him and say, listen, my friend, there's some things that work and some things that don't work, and this doesn't work. How do you get this man under control? Or is this the best thing to happen?
No, I hate using this phrase. But when somebody hasn't played the game, and that sounds a little bit disparaging, a little bit derogatory, but when you haven't played the game at that sort of level, when there is serious stakes on the line, and you understand about, the movement of the body, and it's like when you have to jump for a ball, you have to put your arms in the air. Simple as that. You don't see high jumpers go over the bar with their hands by their sides. It doesn't happen, does it? It's arms up in the air, and you lever yourself to get that leverage. So you have to have some sort of understanding of how the game is played, and when you go to put a tackle in, your arms will come up, and you'll be in some sort of position, because you're almost trying to keep your arms out of the way, because so you're putting them up there so they're not around by your legs or whatever, and you don't get that deflection. But I think they just come up with these ideas and go, okay, we'll do this because we'll get consistency. Well, yeah, we're going to get consistency, but then if
you're
it has
going to be
be
consistent in terms of getting things wrong or costing teams points, either into Europe or relegation.
Spain tried it, didn't they? Spain used to have the sort of the episode that, obviously, because every handball has to be deliberate, and by the letter of the law, deliberate handball is a yellow card. So every single handball, everyone was getting, every time there's a handball, players were getting booked, and then you start to lose players from the game. And that doesn't have to be in the area. That doesn't have to be a penalty. That's just handball anywhere on the pitch. That's a booking. So you can get sent off for the ball hitting you twice on the arm that you've got no control over whatsoever. And that's where we're in danger of going with it. It's just ludicrous. You've got to allow, and you've got to get the opinion from football people. And I don't think they've done that.
And I think if they ask Jose Mourinho what he thinks about it, he's going to flip. Because now it's 2 games for Tottenham that some decisions have not gone against his team. And he's come out and said that, listen, I'm not going to say anything wrong because I'd rather give my money to charity rather than the FA and get fined. But he's got a point, Danny. First time, okay, fine, fair enough. It's literally another one, and it's a big mistake.
I had it in the week, Roshan. I was at Burnley versus Southampton, and there was an incident where Nick Pope had cleared the ball upfield.
Yep.
The ball went over the top. Chris Wood turned, ran through, but the linesman put his flag up immediately, and the referee blew his whistle. Chris Wood then rounded the goalkeeper and put the ball in the back of the net. But it didn't stand, and they weren't even able to go to VAR because the referee had already blown his whistle, and therefore the game was dead before he put the ball in the back of the net. Now, the protocols that we were told, the linesman keeps his flag down. Yeah. And even if he puts his flag up, the referee allows play to go on until the phase of play is finished, and then you can refer it to VAR. There was all sorts of issues. They said, 1 minute it was the fact that, there was a lack of communication. The communication had broken down with the earpieces. And then they went about something else. And then they changed their minds again. But basically, the assistant referee, the linesman and the referee got the protocol wrong. Yep. They've got away with it because it was shown afterwards that Chris Wood was about 5 millimeters offside.
Yep.
There is no way the linesman could be 100% accurate in that and clear that he was offside in that scenario, because they had to go back and it took them about an hour to work it out, whether he was or whether that was how close it was. So there's no way that could have cost Burnley, that could have easily cost them, and it did. It could have cost them points in that game had that decision been wrong. So we're told that all these protocols were in place.
Yep.
And then the linesman and referee get them wrong anyhow. It's like, how simple can it be? Do not put your flag up until the phase of play is over. Referees, you've got one job. Job.
I see this is coming from a place of hurt, Danny. Just not as an ex-professional, but
you can imagine. I'm just commentating on these games. I'm not the manager. I'm not the fans.
Yeah.
And I'm annoyed at what I'm seeing. So imagine how they feel when it's your team, or it's you're the manager of that team, or you're the player that's been wronged.
That you can say that same thing about Brighton. They thought they had a draw. They thought they had got back into the game. VAR. It was a correct decision, let's be honest. By the letter of the law, it was a penalty. It was taken. But was that a get-out-of-jail card for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, or do United need to make a decision now?
United got lucky. Simple as that. United got very, very lucky. No bones about it. Brighton were the better side. They hit the woodwork how many times? 5 times in the game? They were very, very unlucky in that. The issue that I have with that game is, what would have happened if the goalkeeper would have saved it? When does the ball go dead? I don't know, is the answer. Are you allowed to put the rebound in? Or the moment the ball is kicked, imagine the referee had said, okay, you take the penalty and blown the whistle and then blown it again before it went in the back of the net. I mean, we have to be told what the rules are, what the laws are in those situations. Because, if it comes out to another player who then puts the ball in the back of the net, the game was over. It was the last header of the game, the last kick. So when do you call full time on it? Again, there's just simple things.
How do you rectify it?
Well, Mike Riley has to come out and explain. He's head of the Referees Association, the PGOML. He has to come out and just say what the rules are.
Yeah, and if that doesn't happen,
so
be it.
So that's the problem.
But you got to answer that question when I asked you just a few minutes ago. What is it with Manchester United and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? Yeah, we spoke about this earlier on a couple of months ago when you said that Ole could be controlled by Ed Woodward. That's why he still got the job. But simple question: who's a better manager, Pochettino or Ole Gunnar Solskjaer?
Oh, Pochettino, without a shadow of a doubt. Although I did say, at half time, I think over the weekend when Chelsea were 3-0 down, Pochettino's available. Don't wish anything on Frank, but obviously, 3-0 down against West Brom, Roman Abramovich must be there going, hang on a minute, let me think about this. Another couple of results like this, and Frank will be under pressure. There are some good managers out there. And you look at what happened with Man City and Pep Guardiola at the weekend. Yeah. If you're not performing, sooner or later, changes will be made. Because you can't allow teams to get 10 points clear after 6 or 7 games, because that's it. Title is over.
But is it a shock that two big clubs that spent a lot in the past, City and Chelsea, have such similar problems at the back?
I mean, the art of defending has just gone out the window completely. Look at what Atletico Madrid do. Exceptional in the way that they defend. You don't win any, and Liverpool last season, you don't win anything unless you have the second or the best defence in the league. You then have to score a load of goals. You have to be 1 and 2 in terms of best defence, and you generally have to be 1 and 2 in terms of attack. So you've got to be able to mix both. You can't just say, like Man City were last season, we're going to score the most goals. That doesn't work. Liverpool tried it in the past under Brendan Rodgers, didn't work. Newcastle tried it once upon a time, doesn't work. You've got to be good at both ends of the pitch if you're going to win championships and win titles.
Well, Danny, it is, let me guess, it's 18 minutes on the clock. We've got a minute and a half. Do you see big changes happening over the next couple of weeks, especially with signings for either City or Chelsea defensively?
Chelsea, no. I think they've sort of done most of their business, haven't they? But you've got, Thiago Silva is his first game. Chilwell's got to come into that as well. You've got Azpilicueta. Rudiger may stay, may go. Tomori may stay, may. You've got enough players. Chelsea have got enough players now. Frank's just got to make that work. Manchester United, they need some players. Manchester City, I think, am I right in thinking that they've got somebody lined up?
Benfica.
From Diaz from Benfica. Yeah. Looks like he's coming for a record fee for a defender, around about 65 million. You've got Nathan Ake in there as well. You've got Laporte. So maybe they need a left back. They've got to do some business because they've got to sort that defence out.
All right, Danny, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'll see you next week. Whereabouts are you this weekend? Are you going to be covering anything?
No, well, it's all a bit strange here now. Well, I'm sure it's not just for me; it's strange for everybody. But because you have games. Normally, we have Saturday, Sunday, then maybe a Monday night game, and then the week off. But at the moment, because every game is live, the staggered kickoffs all over the place. I'll be watching the 2 games later on this evening, and then I will be at Anfield later in the week for Liverpool versus Arsenal in the Carabao Cup.
And I promise you, I know you'll be watching the Leeds game as well.
Yes.
There's a special bunch of people here who would love to hear from you. Could you give them
Yes, there is. Leeds United Supporters Club, Malaysia. Another 3 points this weekend. Beat those South Yorkshire rivals. They're not even rivals. They don't even register on the map in terms of Yorkshire. But yeah, marched on together, Leeds. We are going to survive.
Thank you very much, Mr. Danny Mills. I shall see you very soon. And thank you very much for watching us on YouTube. If you are, turn on the notifications. And if you're watching us on the Rakyat Post, thank you very much as well. Till the next time. Bye-bye.